Hello, and welcome to the second M&A Masterclass with Andrew J. Sherman, hosted by Firmex. My name is Elizabeth Cayley. I lead the product strategy here at Firmex, and will be facilitating today's class. Thank you for joining us. Before we start, I will quickly review a few details. For your convenience, your microphones and telephones have been muted. If you have a question during the masterclass, please submit it using the GoToWebinar question panel. We will address as many questions as we can before the end of the class, and if you are a Twitter user and want to share your thoughts or questions during the class more publicly, please use the hashtag FirmexMC that you see on your screen here, and that'll be at the bottom of all of the slides, and follow us at Firmex. At the end of today's masterclass, we will also be announcing the lucky winners of one of Andrew Sherman's books, Mergers and Acquisitions from A to Z, or his new book, Harvesting Intangible Assets, which has just been released. So stay tuned for details. Without any further ado, I would like to introduce Joel Lessem, CEO of Firmex.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm delighted and honored to introduce Andrew Sherman today, who is a partner at the Washington office of Jones Day. And Andrew's served as a legal and strategic advisor to dozens of Fortune 500 companies, as well as hundreds of emerging growth companies. He has counseled them on a variety of corporate and commercial transactions, from franchising, joint ventures, capital formation, finance, and M&A. And in his spare time, this always amazes me, he has written 23 books, including the American Bar Association's textbook on due diligence. He's also a regular guest on major news, television networks, radio programs throughout North America, and teaches at Georgetown University. As well as he's the general counsel of the Young Entrepreneurs Organization, and has received awards from Fortune and Inc. magazine for his entrepreneurial ideas and supporting emerging businesses. So, Andrew, on behalf of Firmex and hundreds of lawyers and investment bankers and corporate execs participating in this masterclass, I'd like to thank you for doing this four-part series with the Firmex community. And this is a growing community of, we've got over 1,000 clients doing 5,000 to 6,000 deals a year with over 150,000 users. And this is really as part of our value add to them to bring people like you in our community out front and to talk about M&A and financial transactions.
Well,
Over to you, Andrew.
Truly my pleasure to be here, and thanks again to Firmex for making this happen. You know, there's a lot of, obviously there's a lot of vendors and things into the M&A community, but it's the vendors that really show a commitment to building a community and to educating that community the way you guys have, that really distinguishes the great ones from the less than great ones.
Thank you.
So give me a sense, I mean, you guys are actually kind of a miniaturized economic indicator of M&A deal flow. You know, what are you guys seeing out there in terms of, new data rooms being established? I mean, it's actually quite an interesting indicator of how the market's doing.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, our clients, as I mentioned, they open probably 500 to 600 new data rooms a month, and they have users logging in, and we sort of see this data in aggregate. And whenever there's some volatility, we certainly see it impacted. And so in the fall of 2008, we saw sort of a 20% hiccup over through October, November. We certainly saw a pause in late July and August and early September as the euro crisis heated up and the stock market sank. And so they tend to be the good news is that as an aggregate number, when I talk about a pause, I mean 20% slowdown, and then it's just picked up again in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So what's nice about this market is it seems fairly resilient despite a fair bit of anxiety on macroeconomics.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing, those of you that were on the first webinar with us in September, I hope everybody knows who's listening, we're part of a 4-part series. Today we're going to be turning in a moment to the buyer's perspective. In November we have a great webinar for you planned on due diligence. And then in December we'll be looking at some post-integration valuation challenges, as well as Elizabeth mentioned, a look at my new book on harvesting intangibles.